Okay,
To
we're
you,
live on
where you want to
Facebook.
go with it.
Or no, we're live on Facebook, Twitter, and waiting for YouTube to start up. And YouTube. Show is yours.
Hello, everybody at home. Hopefully, you're at home and staying safe. I would like to welcome you to the Berkeley Poetry Slam Virtual Edition. My name is Javi. I'm going to be your host tonight. And I'm here to introduce you into the world of slam. Unless you've already been introduced, then I'm here to welcome you to slam. For those of you who have never been to a slam before, it's where we take poetry that people have written from their hearts and really put a lot of time and effort into, and we tell them, I think that's a 7. It's dumb, but we have to find a way to figure out who wins and loses at the end of the day, just like regular life. But it's all about the poetry at the end of the day. Before we start, I want to say a big thank you to our amazing and generous patrons at Patreon. We have a Patreon at patreon.com/richoak events, RICHOAK events. You can go there to sign up for different tiers of support. Any contribution you give helps us meet our goals, pay, our amazing community, give back to our community, pay these poets for their time and their effort. Special shout out to our patrons, Renee Edmonds, Emily Chow, Kala Lily for being regulars. Thank you, Jessica Kozasik, for supporting one of our weekly workshops. And special thanks to Alice Grimm and Sarah O'Connell for pledging $100 a month in support of our venue. Before we start, I have some quick rules for everyone. Audience, yeah, that's right. That's you at home. I'm talking to you directly, breaking the fourth wall, virtual wall. I don't know. Usually I tell you to turn off your phones and all that stuff, but we can't hear you, so it's fine. You can keep that on. But make sure, if you are on it, to like and share and subscribe to our Instagram and Twitter at Berkeley Slam. Follow us on Facebook. Make sure to follow us on YouTube as well, on Bay Poets Unite, where you can see a slew of live streams from multiple amazing slams throughout the Bay Area. For poets have 3 minutes and 10 seconds to say what they want. Usually it's a poem because it's a poetry slam, but you never know. Someone could do a stand-up routine. As long as it's under 3 minutes and 10 seconds, you're fine. Also, there can't be any props, musical accompaniments, just you, your hands, your voice, your magic, your talent, blah, 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 blah. If you go past 4 minutes, you're muted. It's done. We love hearing your voice, but not over 4 minutes of it. Only mine, because I get to speak for more than 4 minutes. Just kidding. I'm going to try to keep this short. Okay, now judges, I have some rules for you. There are judges who, surprise, judge the poet's poems. That's right, they're judging the poems based on a score of 0.0 to 10.0 based on whether or not they liked it, or maybe they hated it, or maybe the poet themselves reminded them of an ex that they didn't particularly like. I don't ask why. There's no show your work section. They're basically just scoring it from 0.0 to 10.0. We add up those scores between a first round and a second round, and the poet with the highest scores cumulatively at the very end gets money. And those who don't reach it that high can also get money, but also they're just here because we love art and poetry. Anyway, before we start the show, we like to do this thing at the Berkeley Slam called the word of the day. We have gone to Webster's dictionary, and the word of the day today is vilify. Ooh, I actually knew that word. Big brain. It means to utter slanderous and abusive statements against or to defame or to lower in estimation or importance. Something I'm sure poets know how to use very easily in their poems. And if a poet does fit this word into their poem, not the title, into their poem, they got to make it fit, then they get an extra point. Judges, you don't have to worry about it. We'll do the math for you. Okay, I got the rules for the judges, the poets, for the audience. Who's ready to start the show?
Woo!
Okay, so the poets in the first round will be going in this order. We have Mai, Gray Violet, Gabrielle Ray, Alex the Great, Moody Black, Kai, and Lissa. But before that starts, we have to have a sacrifice. What is a sacrifice, you say? Some people say calibration as well because it's less violent, so I understand either way. This poet is basically someone who starts out the slam, not in it for the glory, but in it because of the poetry and because I asked them nicely. This is a way to have the judges calibrate their scores. So basically, whatever you score you give this poet, if you like any poems more, give them a higher score. If you like any poems less, give it a lower score. So on deck, that means coming up next, we have the first competitor in our slam. But coming up to the stage, give it up for our sacrificial poet, Damani. Yeah.
Gang, gang.
Yeah, gang.
Sound check.
You good?
You're good.
Cool. New shit.
Oh shit.
So this one time in high school, I dressed up as a thug angel for Halloween and forgot my high school was racist before a sight of imagination. I wear a plastic halo, Medusa snakes made of knotted hairs and dread, every onlooker making me the only black kid. The only black kid. Behind me, butterfly wings emerge from my black tea cocoon. A dookie chain the length of a 3,000 verse christens me. I am best dressed in the afterlife, semi-attractive here. With all of my ascension and no stones thrown, the black kids call me nigga, and my pearly gates smile Eden. The non-black kids call me nigga, and new company makes waste of my canal. In hindsight, maybe I was setting myself up. I mean, I showed up to school as a dead thug. I mean, I showed up to the pipeline in handcuffs. They asked if they could touch my hair and said it feels like carpet, or maybe I remember it wrong. They asked if they could hold my chain and never gave it back. Now I remember. They asked if they could touch my hair, and when they reached inside, all that coconut hair milk and tea tree oil and pomegranate honey leave-in conditioner was quicksand for any unwanted tourist, an embarrassment for the locals, to fish out invaders and offer a hand wipe, to vilify the beauty supply and outrage in hoods everywhere. Or maybe I mean, teenage hood is a bloody operation not even angels are safe from. One time in high school, I had to give my not yet love a Valentine in a bathroom stall because boys like to throw faggot around like Jane Does into rivers. One time in high school, my then best friend outed me and wished me happy birthday the next day. One time, just one time, I showed up to school during a day that celebrated difference. I spent an entire sun cycle saying no to death eyes and teenage boys wanting to touch my wings. If heaven is anything like this, I give it back. The worst part is, I did nothing wrong. I was just a kid with a costume.
Give it up for our first poet, Damani. Judges, please send your scores in to our scorekeeper. Judges, please send your scores in. Wow. Okay. Well, Damani was the sacrifice, so I can say whatever. I'll be unbiased for the rest of the people, but ooh, that was good. Ooh, way to start us off. Okay. On deck, we have Gray Violet, but coming up to the stage now, please give it up for our first poet of the slam, Mai.
Yes.
Let's go, Mike.
Yeah.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
This is called Alternative Facts from a Third Grade Lover after Jamon Hill. I hate James. You know, I really mean I love him. We got married during recess yesterday. Wait, alternative facts. James says he doesn't like me. James and I didn't get married during recess yesterday. My teacher didn't make us do 2 sheets of math. My only friend doesn't hate me. The school doesn't have a day where we dress up as colonizers and Native Americans. They don't feed us lies in lunch lines. We don't dance the problems away. When we ask questions, they don't silence us. We don't have to play pretend like they got along. My grandmother doesn't make sopapilla so perfect with honey so smooth. My grandmother doesn't make words melt in her mouth. My mother doesn't leave roses like Hansel and Gretel marking footprints of her path like through the world. My mother doesn't leave sunflowers when she moves to China. My mother leaves because she has to. My mother knows me. My dad doesn't need a lawyer. My parents don't fight. My dad doesn't create a shadow in the low light of the bathroom lamps holding a bottle, taking his meds. My father doesn't know pain. My father doesn't spit meds down the sink and hug me goodnight. My father doesn't throw away the bottle. I don't wonder what it would be like to die. I don't want to die. Alternative facts. My dad's cousin doesn't unmake me at family gatherings. My dad's cousin doesn't get arrested 5 times. He didn't vilify my body, a testament to how I am still not wanted even when I am torn apart. He doesn't go to court with my parents. Wait, y'all aren't laughing. Let's try again. James doesn't like me. James and I didn't get married during recess yesterday. See, now y'all laughing, you aren't thinking about the real problems. Alternative facts from a 12th grade lover. I don't know which times of the year I'd have to be put on a stretcher in the hallway of the ER instead of in a room. I don't know which hospitals have their shrinks leave at which time. I know what it's like to have grown up happy. The drugs didn't get me. The drugs don't want me back. I don't want them back either. Alternative facts. I don't know the taste of the color orange. I don't pick apart bottles like puzzle pieces. Don't push pills together like they will fix this. Don't push pills down throat like they will push puzzle pieces into serotonin. I remember what it's like to cry. I remember all of my childhood. I feel something. I feel anything. Thank you.
Give it up for the poet.
Let's go,
Judges,
poet.
please send
Come
your
on.
scores in. Judges, please send your scores in. And remember, for those of you at home, if you're watching us, to follow us at Berkeley Slam. You can also follow at Oakland Slam, at Rich Oak Alchemy, amazing slams that are a part of the Bay Area Slam cinematic universe. Amazing. Okay. Our sacrifice got an amazing 29.7. Give it up for the poet, not the points. On deck, we have Gabrielle Ray, but coming up to the stage, give it up for Gray Violet. Oh wait, that was a dog in someone's background. I thought that was me. Okay, continue.
We can't hear you. You're
think
muted.
you're muted.
You're muted.
Sorry, we can't hear you.
Oh, they're not muted, but for some reason, it's still not working. Yeah, let's call up the next poet and try to bring Gray back up to the stage after we try to figure out the audio troubles.
That makes sense.
I think that's me.
Okay, let's see. So Gray is having some technical difficulties. We all have them, completely normal. So we'll have the person who was on deck, Gabrielle Ray, coming up to the stage. Give it up for Gabrielle Ray. Woo!
Good evening. I don't have a title. I don't really write titles. I write poems. Sometimes I wonder if your back will break. With all those heavy dreams, they tend to heave upon you, like ancestral artifacts sewn in the dead of night, or those little nicks and wounds our elders' words incite when they click their tongues to remind us we haven't yet, really should, child, better yet. Boy, sometimes I wonder how we still hold these silent sermons inside when wedged and tucked behind every vertebrae in your stoic spine is a shred and shared time that I may or may not have been there for, but can still feel the hum of in this tiny thread that shakes between us like makeshift telephone games played with Dixie cups, strung between homes too far and wide to hear each other's tone and pitch. Foreign tongues that speak the same language, so akin that when I scratch, I'm almost sure it's partly your skin that I itch. There are stanzas buried in the rubble of me that I don't have tools sharp enough to dig through. The only spade worthy is your story. That elusive poetry lies in you. buried in a continent I'm not sure I've had the opportunity to swim to, two seeds from the same soil. And I'd risk digits and limbs to tug at your roots, to examine your truth, to hear it like a hymn and occupy your pew, reverberating like that invisible cord that stretches between us. I want to know what happened in those gaps and lapses between our every other weekends and holidays with all the love and stuffing grandma could ever feed us. I want to know what followed in the wake of all those invisible gifts our great-great-greats ever gave to lead us. And while I know that this world can be a bitter night for you precious boys with skin anything close to midnight, and my understanding alone will never be strong enough to sheath you, tell me your story. Because it's not just in your words, it's in your tone. You're in my bones. You clutch my spirit. Strum your song a little louder, brother. Your baby sister still needs to hear it. Can I turn off my video now?
Give it up for the poet. Judges, please give your scores in. Okay. Oof. So for reference, Mai got a 29.6. Give it up for the poet, not the points. Okay. On deck, we have Moody Black or Gray, if Gray happens to come back. But in the meantime, we're going to have our next poet who is supposed to be on deck. Give it up for our next poet, Alex the Gray.
Woo! 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 Yeah.
I had already had 2 kids tugging at my coattails, and just enough patience to last me through the night and a bottle of rum. I ain't know too much about love, but I know Big Mama say a young suit around the way be stopping by. I went and fixed myself up real nice. Ain't no harm with a little bit of talking. Who knows? Maybe we hit it off real good. Live one of them fairy tale lives, and sure enough, he was fine. Got someone to show me what it is to be in a real partnership. Something about a year later, he pulling out a ring. Changed my mind, changed my name, changed my life. Your daddy knew how to make me laugh and remember I was alive again. Sometimes us women get so involved taking care of the house, we can forget about the home and ourselves. He was always joking around, made me smile from city lights to countryside. We had a real good thing here. Not like you kids these days, walk around twerking and jerking, sticking and getting laid. We were really in love. You know, like whenever he was away, my whole soul hurt. Not talking about that shit where he finished my sentences, but he completed my life. We didn't believe in divorce. So in those days, love taught you to stick around. So whenever the trials got rough, we just learned how to tough it out. And there were some things I didn't like, but also some battles you ain't got to fight. And wasn't nothing about him perfect, but we showed up and let God handle the rest. Sometimes it was the silence that spoke the loudest in the house, did all the arguing for me, will feel like I'm hitting a brick wall and he don't be listening. But that was the better part of 30 years ago. Mama living out her memories through me, but she don't talk too much here lately since my daddy been gone. Sometimes it's the silence that speaks the loudest in the house that does all the talking for me. She keep talking to a bunch of picture frames, but he don't be listening. Some say mama don't want near about crazy. I say it's like whenever he's away, her soul hurt and half her heart stopped working. She say she don't know who she is anymore, just about choked at the thought of the word widow. I tell her not to be bothered with labels. She can be whatever she want to be. Yesterday it was nothing. Today it's a work in progress. Maybe tomorrow she'll be confident enough to just be. Till then, I got strength enough to carry us both. And we cry and we laugh and we joke and talk. Make her remember she's alive again. Same way my daddy taught me.
Let's go. Come on.
Give it up for the poet. Judges, please send your scores in, please. Judges, send your scores in. Okay. Our previous poet, Gabrielle Ray, got a 29.6. Give it up for the poet, not the points. Okay, so we have Gray back, luckily. Hopefully the technical difficulties are fixed. But before we move on, I would like to shout out a specific GoFundMe campaign of a domestic violence survivor in our community, organized by Nicole Driver. If you have anything at all, even the slightest amount, to go and help support our members of the community who are afflicted with domestic violence or any other issues, you can find the link in our bio for our Instagram pages at Berkeley Slam, at Oakland Slam, at Richmond California. Anything will help, and any sort of support is important. Okay. So on deck, let's just take a breath. On deck, we have Moody Black, but coming up to the stage, give it up for Gray Violet.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
I'm here.
Yes.
Yay, okay.
Yes. Yes.
Cool. Trigger warning for language that queer people and women might be offended by. Yeah. Okay. I am a poet, a failing poet, a loving poet, a poet whose failure to love gives life to beautiful prose, a poet who knows just enough to be taken seriously, but she'd rather not be taken at all, a poet that is perceived, a poet that grieves being noticed, like read her words, hear her song, but don't ask for anything else. Her song is enough. Her song is too much to hold inside, so when it leaves her mouth, she kills over with the emotional exorcism of what we call truth and how it's vilified. Black women who are masters of words become slaves to the way it makes them feel. Become addicted to being able to bend a tongue that was almost cut out. I became addicted to being able to use my tongue, same tongue that bears the slashes of white male silencers. And sometimes Black male silencers, they all try to silence us. I am a tired poet, but a loving one. My heart holds love for pretty damaged women like me, for the queers and the sluts and the bitches. I trade love poems with other word witches to fill their hearts before they have to go. And our coven is majestic because we deem it so. And when my head is rested on her chest, things don't seem so slow. And when I'm running my hand through her hair, I am reminded that I am also majestic on my own, and I am grown. So I must be a poet. Adulting is a special kind of poetry, where waking up can be the whole piece, where staying up can break you into pieces, break me into pieces. I keep speaking in different persons because I am not a person, I am a poet. And I am held to a higher standard, forced to be articulate when I want to scream, forced to make pretty stories out of lofty dreams. I am pulled at the seams because it seems like this art form that has given me so much has taken away more than enough, making me feel like I'm never enough, like I try to write about my pain, but someone else's pain is always more poetic. Porn is never real, and trauma porn is no different. Suddenly I feel myself drifting, putting myself in dark places over and over just so that I can see the score be so much more than others. Because I was never good at anything except for writing. And I was never given anything except for words. I will never be anything except for a poet. A strong, Black, gay, femme-ish poet who knows that she wishes she never knew that, who's been fed morsels so she rides dorsals, hoping to get saved from drowning. I'm drowning, can't you see? But wait, I forgot. You don't see me. You see Aliana, the extroverted empath who still has yet to find her own path. You see a poet. You saw a poet. Thank you.
Give it up for the poet. Judges, please send in your scores. Okay, our previous poet, Alex the Great, got a 29.4. Give it up for the poet, not the points. Okay, on deck, we have our last poet of the first round, Kai, but coming up to the stage, give it up for our next poet, Moody Black.
Woo! Check. I sound good. I'm good. Am I too loud? I'll be loud.
You good.
I know nothing's funny. See, I have a condition. I have psychopathic laughter, and for me, it's something I can't control. I mean, Why crawl over something that does not make sense? Like when James Harris Jackson, a white man, followed Timothy Kaufman, a 66-year-old black man, and stabbed him repeatedly with a sword. After turning himself in, he stated, "I was looking to get black men scared and have them do reciprocal attacks and inspire white men to do similar things." Isn't that crazy? Or like Emmett Till, at age 14, was accused of whistling at a white woman. When the lady's husband heard about it, him and his goons hunted him down, gouged out his eyes, shot him in the head and threw his body tied to a cotton gin fan with barbed wire into the Tallahatchie River. Y'all wonder why we scared. We always knew that they killed black people no matter 14 or 66, and now I'm always smiling, still considered second-class citizens, still have to ask for civil liberties, still told to let the past go, but the past got close to a 500-year chokehold on my people. It's the killing joke. I know, sorry. It's not funny. Nothing's funny. See, I have a condition. I have psychopathic laughter, but for me, it's something I can't control. But it's funny how one race don't like another race because of how another race looks or thinks, or they think we don't have the capabilities to think. They think we're expendable. It seems like they lost their minds. That's why we keep losing our Oscar Grants, Trayvon Martins, Sandra Bland's, Philando Castiles, and still people are tired of hearing their names in a poem. But if you don't say their names, they died twice. Isn't that funny? All the kin when they're killing us. It's a knee slapper when they slap us in the face. A hardy har when a black body hits the ground. Is it me? Or it's getting a little crazy out there because there's no more Marcus Garvey, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. They made a suicide squad of our Black Panthers. We're just hoping the Dark Knight returns because it's always a death in the family, a sunset tribling the innocents because they keep promising us the dawn of a new day. Isn't that funny? America, we've been scared of young white males to grow up to wear white, to cover up their faces, paint a smile with the blood of black folk, and kill for the fun of it. But America sympathizes with those jokers as long as it's black people dying. It's a manslaughter of cracking up, a lynching of giggles. It's an assassination that'll leave you with stitches. They will Dylan Roof our will to live. No, nothing's funny. See, I have a condition. I have psychopathic laughter. Sometimes you gotta laugh to keep from crying. And it seems whether we live or die is something we cannot control. Isn't that funny?
Give it up for the poet. Judges.
Let's go.
Please send in your scores, judges. Send in your scores. Okay, Gray Violet, the previous poet, got a 30. Give it up for the poet, not the points. On deck, we have our amazing feature for the night, Dante Clark. But coming up to the stage, give it up for our last poet of the first round, Kai.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Lucky. A lot of people call me lucky, you know, mwenye bahati, suerte. Even when translated, I don't know what that means. See, the Oxford definition of that word is good things that happen to you by chance, not because of your own efforts or abilities. Well, dear freaking universe, I'm not lucky. Lucky is getting a full house and a poker stack in a bar while betting your salary because you're drunk. Catching the train with a whisker, or when Spotify plays your favorite song. Those people are lucky. The universe decided to smile on them for a time. Not me. I freaking walk for my shit. How are you going to translate 14 years of building something torn apart, relocated and bagged with no fragile cargo warning, 2 bags and a shit ton of dreams, 22 hours, went to Dubai, coming to America and starting over? As lucky? No, I'm not a money tree. I don't have cash. I'm a broke man. I'm broke. I don't see celebrities or parties like I'm in Cali. I'm in Mass. Cold, Mass. Thank you, New England, for that. Apparently, I have an accent. Suppressed everything inside me, no motivation to work, but I'm still hustling, still grinding. Got a job slinging fries at 15. What do? Watch TV as mommy goes through my drive-thru. Coming home is the worst thing ever. I live with strangers. Bonded by blood, but strangers. A frigging fragile high breaking out my skin doing my homework. I don't know how to use a laptop. I'm trying to fit in. Please accept me. It's my clothes. Daddy spent all his money. We have nothing. It's cold. I know. I barely have a jacket. I can look better. I promise. Is it my hair? I can't braid it. The strands are too complex. I wash it though. I'm clean. I swear. It's my accent. Well, I'm sorry. I'll take it off. I'll swallow my mother tongue and my entire girl. Hey, girl. Did it pay off? Did my hours of watching television pay off? I tried. I don't know different accents. I'm copying. I'm not trying. Not saying a thing. I'm sorry. Hi. I think I was dying. I became hello, so you don't say I'm lucky. I earned that stage on MLK Day. I earned the right to be put on calm because of my black skin, which is an issue. No boys like me, no girls want to be friends with me. Have you ever been surrounded by lonely, isolated by a whispering chamber? Oh, lol, that's my brain. Thoughts parading, I don't care. But why does it hurt? Too much, doctor. I don't know what that word means. Mama, what does he mean? He said I'm lucky. It's not in my English vocabulary. Call me fucking lucky one more time, you be decked. Square checked. Oh, I'm sorry. Is it too much? Would you rather hear the muffled screams from my chamber if you weren't obsessed with what it should sound like? How it should be? How the frick I made an Oscar for the mud? Pure sand and the water flowing from my tears 3 a.m. I don't know what to do. Call God or a pill bottle, a genie or a leprechaun. I'll take it. Anything. No friends here. I talk. But what if what I sound like is not me? What if the words spewing like gas from a burning building, smoke from your gaslighting? I'd scream, but I'm lucky, right? At least I had a building. It's burning, I said. Be grateful. Smile. You have it better. Well, fuck that. Somebody get me out of here. Wait, no. Better yet, I'll get a moppet and a bucket. But not for my WAP, for my building, for my chamber. I'm not lucky because I put that shit on myself. I made that shit happen. So don't come to me with that. Don't come to me with that. Because I don't know what lucky means. Thank you.
Woo! Give it up for the poet. Judges, please send in your scores. Judges, please send in your scores. For reference, Moody Black got a 30. Give it up for the poet, not the points. On deck, we have the second round. But coming up to the stage first, please welcome our amazing feature. Before the feature gets here, I have an amazing bio to read you. Dante Clark, aka DONBLAK, if you have not heard, is a native of Richmond, California, reigns as one of the most prolific writers and voices out of the Bay Area arts community. Dante is not only eclectic in the art of storytelling through the spoken word, his body language and musical presence and performance is poetry in itself. He captures the complexities of what it feels and looks like to be vulnerable within Black masculinity while governed by a society of white supremacy and hyperviolence amongst Black youth. Dante is the author and co-star of the stage play Tay's Harmony, which is featured in the documentary Romeo is Bleeding, about growing up in Richmond, California, seen through the lens of Romeo and Juliet. Dante published his first collection of poetry in 2018 titled No Freedom, available on Amazon. And he is currently working on his next collection titled The Times We Lived, available February of 2021. Please welcome to the stage our amazing feature, Dante Clark.
Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Yo, man, I appreciate once again, second night of being here with y'all, hearing some amazing poems. Beautiful people, love my people. I'm gonna try to keep this brief. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. But like mentioned before, I'm working on my next collection of poetry. Sometimes it'd be hard for me to write. I think a lot, I read a lot of books. I'm always inspired by other people, but sometimes it'd be hard for me to write. So when I start writing, I just start going. I wanted to try some new techniques with my pen. So I'm thinking about sharing y'all some new pieces from this upcoming collection that I got. The title was going to be called The Times We Lived, but under different scrutiny, I decided to call it Closed Caskets. So I'm gonna read a couple of pieces from that. Y'all can hear me? I'm cool. for surely. Poor people penny pinching and panhandling prayers for per diems. Prefer pushing and peddling, prostituting to participate and purchasing the presence of presence to pass time. Whew. A pathological pathway of the proud. From peasant to pedestal is the pain of people who pretentiously post photos of prized possessions, paper, pendants, Porsches, and pistols. The perpetual penury of particular parenting that preludes to pea-popping and parking lot pimping, a plethora of portraits from Parchester to Philadelphia, Patron pouring, parading poison to preteens while police patrolling. These project parties are a paradigm of pagan pandemoniums, pose as positive, pretending pretty, preach prolific but be petty, proclaiming peace with no prosperity, protest, 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 till pop by projectile. Pause, then protest. Must be the prey of politics, performers of propaganda, pupils of predictive programming, and pages and pages and pages of paragraphs, prose papers by poets, professors, philosophizing, pleading against mass promotion of the piercing parables of poverty, paying for profits. Perhaps. Anyhow, just my perspective from the P's. Thinking the thoughts that trauma teaches the thinking. They trying to chain those of us that's thoroughbred, to talk tersely and timid, to teeter till teetering teaches us to trace to the third trace of Tyler, to be tripping and tumbling 10,000 times till we're tossed over to the tango of taunting tales that's told to us about their tenacious taboos, the tragic traffic, that track list of torture that's tattooed in the thrusting trials, trekking with tribulations always there to twist and touch our torsos of the talented 10, the targeted, the 10 toes of the toughest teenagers traumatized from the terrible tactics that tyrannical task force used to tame us by torch. They're attempting to tear through our time. There's too many teachers at Stephen the temples, taken to the temples be tilted, tired. This piece be tipped to them, to the tongue-tied, tired ticks that's tricking the people to trap and trample, triple out their treasures. Trash the totality of the treacherous terror domes, the tasteless territories that the thugs tend to. There be telephones that televise the tirade of toxic tears. That's truism. The typical thinking that thoughts teaches the trauma. Trauma teaches the thinking. Go through total turmoil just to tell our stories through tribal testimony, through telephones. Just those two. That's called the P's and the T's, man. From the P's and the T's. And blessed be all of those who fear the strong hand, who are knees to the humble and a face to the dirt, who speak from a wrenched heart, repented and lamenting from his bones with lips that are washed with the prayers and psalms of David, seeking the mercy that endures forever. May blessed be the mercy that endures forever. Blessed be the mouth of thanksgiving, for the belly that is pleased with its daily bread and the eyes that await the hour of the thief in the night. Blessed be the flame to the oil, the loins of the mind that is girded with faith, and the feet that is quickened to the gospel of peace. Blessed be the ears that are pressed to the sky, rejoicing at the coming down of the promised city. Blessed be the waters of New Jerusalem. Salah. Yeah, I think them the three I'm gonna do. I think I'm cool with them three right there. I appreciate y'all for listening. Apologize if I was stumbling with these some new pieces, and as you can see, it was a mouthful. So I appreciate the opportunity to share that with y'all.
Woo!
Whoa.
Give it up for our amazing feature.
Let's go.
Remember, new collection coming out February 2021, The Times You Live. You can go and get No Freedom, available on Amazon. And you can also watch Romeo's Bleeding, an amazing, in which Dante is amazingly featured. Is there any other way that we could reach you? Social medias, I'm sure you can look it up and all that stuff. It's actually pretty easy.
Oh yeah, for sure. You could reach me on social media, mostly Instagram, under DONBLAK, DONBLAK, one word. Yeah, I always respond. So if you want to collaborate, hit me with a message or whatever. For sure. DONBLAK, DONBLAK.
Okay, amazing. Give it up for amazing feature. Okay, everyone. Moving on with the slam. FYI, Kai, our last poet of the first round, got a 29.6. We're gonna move on to our second round. Now, usually we only take the top 5 poets, but these scores are so close, we're gonna take everyone. And it's just one other poet. And who hates more poetry? I don't know. If you hate poetry, why are you here? Anyway, for the second round, we're taking the same poets, but then doing in reverse order. So the order is gonna be Kai, Moody Black, Gray Violet, Alex the Great, Gabrielle Ray, and Mai. On deck, we have Kai, but coming to the stage, give it up for our sacrifice. That's right, you didn't think we'd have another sacrifice for the second round, but we will. Give it up for our sacrificial poet, Nicole Tracy.
New shit.
New shit.
No shit.
And this is for everyone who hated season 8 of Game of Thrones. This will redeem it for you. The man who said I looked like Arya Stark from the neck down after seeing the one scene she is naked in. Really? This is the one time in 8 seasons you think I look like her? And while this is probably not the first time a man has said he fantasizes about me, it is probably the most creative way. I mean, it's such a compliment, right? I could be a body double for any beautiful white girl. I would look perfect and out of reach on small and large screens. I mean, I should be thankful, right? Thankful that I'm one of the top search terms for sexual fantasy, because after all, fetish and Japanese are separate search terms, but not mutually exclusive. And after all, it's not your fault that the world only puts a fantasy out, says I can only be sexy or smart, and having boobs means I can only be sexy. I mean, I should be thankful, right? You and so many men beat your dick to the idea of me without knowing my name or thinking about the bloody history white violence leaves behind. He sees me in every anime he's ever watched and calls me fan service and believes it to be a compliment. When he says I look like Arya Stark from the neck down, what he means to say is he's ignoring what strong women we are, sees us as a pair of walking boobs, only calls himself a feminist from his male gaze. And yes, I am like Arya Stark. I'm a bloodthirsty bitch. Arya Stark killed the goddamn Night King, and I'm sure she would sneer at your comments too. Call you harmless because it would hurt your masculinity, would kill you in self-defense. And remember, we will not give you a warning if you put your hands on us.
Period.
Let's go. Come on, poet.
Give it up for Nicole Tracy. Judges, please send in your scores. Judges, please send in your scores. On deck, we have Moody Black, but coming up to the stage, give it up for our first poet and poem of the second round. Give it up for Kai.
Is my sound good? Can y'all hear me again? Okay. Identity. Is something weird? Is it given or made to have and to hold, or a one-time blur? I feel like mine's a blur. It was maybe part of a facade, one of hope and happiness, or one that consisted of me knowing things, who I am, what I want. It's nostalgic to see people living their everyday lives, knowing you can't. You're stuck, living in a merry-go-round, every little kid's dream. Mine was turned into a horror movie, turning and spinning, whirling and swirling, round and round, the memories and hopes, head spinning, balance faulting, it turns to all the hops go down. I can feel them neigh, it's like a weight not stuffed by the illusion of them. From a perfect barn to metal links, polished skin, and 4 pink lips. They turn and turn like my head, their chains squeaking, needing oil, but all I could think of were my own, the heavy burden, it turns and moves. I spin till I cannot stand, and in a moment it stops. That is how I feel something sort of like my identity. It's something to vilify. It was a merry-go-round till it just stopped. Now I remain grasping at the thoughts, nostalgic memories, the long-lost love never coming back, a connection to everything. Ouch. It's a blur. In those moments you slip back into the dark, the more you adapt, the more you don't stop, go in denial and do things that aren't you. Well, at least the person you thought you were is just like a circus. The more you go, the more you feel part of it. You crave that rush when you saw them do tricks. It makes you hunger inside. Then you're truly insatiable. Then you're truly lost. Like me with no identity, I feel truly lost. Thank you.
Give it up for Kai. Judges, please get your scores in. Please, judges, get your scores in. Okay, before we move on, I want to plug again that GoFundMe campaign for domestic violence survivor. We're trying to get to $1,200. Any little bit helps. And, you know, I'm sure everyone has been exposed to someone who has come across violence or any sort of manipulation, anything like that. So anything from the heart helps. On deck, we have our third poet of the second round, Gray Violet, but coming up to the stage, give it up for our second poet, Moody Black.
Let's go, poet.
Did you know that Thomas Dartmouth Rice, a white actor who used blackface, helped make the term Jim Crow popular? Took an old Kentucky song along with old wrongs, made a minstrel show of the mistreatment of black folk. Made a mockery of our folk with over-the-top mannerisms. He would shuck and jive to joke about the possibility of us having civil rights. He would excessively stretch, bulge his eyes, and talk that in there talk and use air quotations and say, it's the black way. Did you know that Jimmy something means to get it loose? Did you know that most people regard crows as some ugly birds? Did you know back then they would intentionally feed the crows corn whiskey, you know, to get them loose? Boy, them crows would jump so high, stumbling around in a drunken stupor, they didn't respect them birds at all, because they be way past midnight black. They call an unfamiliar tribal tune to the ears of vultures. They will villainize the validity of our village. So just like my people, they keep us inebriated, distracted, stumbling, pecking for crumbs, always grabbing one of us from our flock. They be like, look at how that crow jumped with that rope around his neck. They would get together and hang one of us high for the show. Sounds more like a murder. Did you know a gathering of crows is called a murder of crows? Did you know when the police see a gathering up of black folks, it's usually just a murder? Don't that just ruffle your feathers? How Black Death is entertainment for whites in blackface, with a song that made a whole era keep us separate but equal. But when it's time to face the music, it's really no equality. Make the tears roll on the crow's feet from my eyes. I get so tired of having seen my people die, and nothing is done about it. They just shoo, crow, shoo, so we stumble and get around the best we can. Nowhere to land to call home. Just when we think we got a field to feast, they throw up scarecrows called the police. They will Breonna Taylor your last breath. They will Brandon Lee you while you on set. So how do you want your Jim Crow? A revolution will not be televised rotisserie? How about Kentucky Fried can't get your freedom? A baked with a beat down for police brutality. But I'm tired of this minstrel show these folk be playing. This continuous slaying of my people is for the birds. Did you know there are several species of crow, like raven, like rook? So look how we gotta slide and maneuver in this chess game. But if they keep pushing our peace, they're gonna find us rapping and tapping at their door. Because we'll Edgar Allan Poe our way up from y'all's floor. This racial injustice never more. Because there's some white folk in blackface still dancing around the issue. And we are tired. So we're about to fly with our beaks held high and our claws balled up, spread wings and black in the sky till you think it's the law that done called up. So grant us the opportunity to get what we're supposed to have. You know, the freedom to fly and be properly fed. So y'all better reform these laws. If not, expect us to damage your crops.
Give it up for the poets. Judges, please send in your scores. Judges, please send in your scores. Our Our sacrificial poet, Nicole Tracy, got a 29.5. Give it up for our sacrifice. Give it up for the poet, not the points. And our first poet of the second round, Kai, got a 29.0. Give it up for the poet, not the points. On deck, we have Alex the Great, but coming up to the stage, give it up for Gray Violet.
Mic check.
Woo!
Can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
Good. Everyone can? Wonderful. All right. I told myself that I wouldn't write a love poem. As in, I wouldn't write about how soft her lips were, or how she wrinkled her nose in the cutest way, or how she fixed all my broken pieces. I'll repeat, fixed all my broken pieces. As in, made me feel like pieces of myself, and only she had the glue to hold me together. I remember the first time she mentioned forever, and I dreamed of a sweet escape. But I can't stand to break a heart, knowing how mine handles being split in two, so I happily took the key and locked myself in. And I can never win in any argument we had, because she was right and good, and I was wrong and sad, and only she had the glue to keep me together. So whenever she wiped my tears, down came pouring rain, as in dams have to break sometimes, and if I couldn't cry, then the sky was a sympathetic ally and did it for me. She was everything for me, except healthy. I was everything to her, except for enough. As in, I could sing her to sleep, but she still wake up with the taste of someone else on her tongue. She made me raise her up while she knocked me down several rungs, but only she had the glue to hold me together. So when she needed me, she had me. Even when I had nothing to give myself, she had me. As in, if time was currency, my account was always in red, and she got mad whenever I put myself first instead of her need, yet I was selfish in my greed, and she was righteous in her needs. FaceTime calls every time she needed a shoulder to cry on. I got by on false hopes and ignored intuition, like, girl, put the key in the ignition and drive away. She was the glue that held me together. And I was always running out of gas, light me into thinking she was right. Like, what was I thinking when I cried at night? As in, what made me stay when my friends hated her, my parents debated her, and everyone knew, and even I knew, but sometimes we know and we still love. And sometimes we learn, but we still care. And that right there was the glue. Not her, the idea, love. The bare minimum manifested in a girl with ink on her arms and fire in her eyes, who let me in on little secrets whenever she cried, who made me feel like her vulnerability was an excuse for all the lies. And why? If she didn't want me, she could have said. If she didn't need me, why was I the one singing the monsters to sleep under her bed? As in, why was I the instead and not the because? I let her. I let those pieces stay unglued. I let myself find solace in the I love you twos. Even abbreviated, they meant so much. So when she still wanted to stay in touch, after giving me trust issues and baggage that I could never check, after she called me when I was a drunken wreck, I never put her in check. I kept my fuck you in my mind, told her I'd still be there for her anytime, but she'd never be my glue. In fact, I'm way too blue to trust anything to keep me together. So I stay writing love poems about what was and what will never be. I don't know if I can love anyone anymore. You ruined that for me. Thank you.
Give it up for Gray Violet.
Let's go, poet.
Judges, please send in your scores, please. Moody Black last round got a 28.8. Give it up for the poet, not the points.
Gang, 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 gang. Also, judges are fucking up.
Deck, we have Gabrielle Ray. Actually, wait, no. On deck, we have Gabrielle Ray, but coming up to the stage, we have Alex the Great. Before we get to there, I'd like to shout out some of the other slams that you can see virtually, social distantly, from the comfort of your very own home. If you like poetry and want to watch any of the other nights, You can see every Monday on Instagram Live at Legendary Collective. You can see the Santa Cruz Word Church, an amazing slam/open mic for Santa Cruz. Every first and third Saturday at Allen Bluford Center Instagram Live. Rich Oak Alchemy, you can go to the Rich Oak Alchemy Slam. And every third Tuesday at Lucas Tap Room is Oakland Slam. Learn more at Oakland Slam. Ooh, wow. We really thought long and hard about these very accessible and amazing apps. If all of this is hard to remember, you can always go to at Berkeley Slam or at Oakland Slam to see all the other apps. We're all connected. Cinematic universe, amazing, great. Okay, moving on. On deck, we have Gabrielle Ray, but coming up to the stage, give it up for Alex the Great.
Let's go.
To the white woman who asked me what my bruises look like, presumably in comparison to the color of hers. Dare I say I was too taken aback to give you a proper response then, but the fact that you even thought it okay to ask me some shit like that, white privilege. The fact that you only asked and didn't carry out the act to see it, black privilege. See, unlike you, I have to live this. Attempt to navigate the minute space between birth and funeral. A smile and a tear. One moment and the next, my bruises look like the Atlantic Ocean parted open and swallowed 3 million bodies in his belly. My bruises like the ring being the only ID Emmett Till's corpse could carry. My bruises like a whip, lashing amnesia and the Toby forgetting his name was Kunta on 1 foot. Bullet to the head, broken ribs, gouged eyes, severed tongue, sound like a horror movie. But that's Mamie Till's story, Sabrina Fulton's story, Coretta Scott King's story. It's my testimony. This body be the pulpit. This life is a sermon. My bruises look like having to teach you this, like the souls of black folks, double consciousness. See, the fact that you spend your whole life making a living, white privilege. The fact that I spend my whole life thinking about dying, black privilege. But you want to know what my bruises look like me being black, woman and alive, and enough for me to have to analyze. My bruises look like this moment, like me channeling all this rage in a paper and pen instead of your face. And my bruises look like Trayvon Martin, look like I'm regurgitating on 400 years of oppression. My bruises look like Selma, Minneapolis, Baltimore, Ferguson, like Oakland, look like I'm burning, man. Can't you see a body on fire? You just stand there with that silly ass grin on your face, dousing more fuel on the flames, trying to vilify my name. Trying to vilify my name. This here ain't easy, man. This living is a constant challenge. This blackness is beautiful. It's a shame I can only go to the mirror to see it. The fact you tell stories about your 3 little children, white privilege. The fact that I wrestled with naming mine beloved, black privilege. But you want to know what my bruises look like. My bruises like I bite my tongue so hard last night I almost swallowed it. Like my hands stay at 10 and 2, I make no sudden movements. My bruises look like Sandra Bland. Like the police can turn my eulogy into a suicide note. Look like the state of Texas rewriting history to call slaves workers and the slave trade a migration riddle. What is another word for a black family reunion? A graveyard. I am always the butt of all jokes. The fact that you got something to laugh about, white privilege. The fact that I got something to smile about, black privilege. We all know my bruises look like. The fact that I'm standing here as the evidence, black privilege, the fact that you can't see the irony, white privilege, because if a black body ain't the most obvious example of scarring, then healing, then truly, I can't tell you what is.
Let's go, poet.
Give it up for the poet. Judges, please send in your scores. Judges, please send in your scores. For reference, Gray Violet got a 29.6. Give it up for the poet, not the points. Okay, on deck we have the last poet of the slam, but coming up to the stage, give it up for our penultimate poet. That means second to last. Gabrielle Ray.
Again, oh, sorry, this light is killing me a little bit. Hey, Billy. I just want to see us shine like the continent that we were stolen from. Ignorant to that bullet's hum and those hollow hymns. Comfortable in this warm brown skin, but never comfortable enough to start resting. In these times, trying and testing, we are often encouraged to get reckless and practice the senseless. I have More faith in a crooked path than I can show for a crooked system. And only love for the loveless is the truest gift you could give them. I've seen grown men die still living like children, and girls with all the wrong notions of what it takes to be women. So are we sinking or swimming? Arms flailing like a newborn's baptism. I'm afraid to be anything short of a living cataclysm. And if you're able to endorse, please support the heartbeat's course and rhythm, and not the silence on the other end of the line as the mother is notified. Get it? Sometimes the soft parts come the hardest. Plus, who can be blamed for the things we clutch with fingertips blinded by darkness? It's too common to be heartless. I beg you to be the anomaly. Be the spark in the looming dart that shines a light. Be what you want to see. And in so being and so freeing, be the pulse that pushes progress. I'm not saying we haven't made strides, but that don't mean we beyond yet. Hope is a prospect, sometimes fleeting, but that don't mean it's gone yet. We stand at the brink of a threshold, and the only way out is in. The only way in is out. We've let enough words spill from our mouth. Now is the time for action.
Woo!
Give it up for the poet. Judges, please get your scores in, please. Judges. Oh, I'm back. Scores in, please. Okay, on deck, we have the end of the show. We have figuring out who wins and who still did amazing, because all that poetry tonight has been amazing. But before that, we have our last poet of the second round. Give it up. Give maximum energy to Maya.
Let's go, Maya.
Okay, can y'all hear me? I can't see anyone, so can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yep,
Okay.
Yes.
Things that didn't wish to become. Gasoline. Empty church pews, a bus stop forgotten, stolen land, a people pushed aside, bruised skin, a bottle of liquor, a body full of liquor. Nobody does that for fun, I promise. The sun. Cracked ceramic, a ventilator, cradle board, noun, definition. A piece of wood held tightly together by woven rope so as to put a child to rest. My grandmother tells me a story of her daughter's birth. My grandfather was the doctor, the only one on the reservation. The medicine man praised my mother's body and cleansed her soul. Palo Santo burned and body billowed in the wind. My grandfather and the medicine man both prayed over my mother's body. I wonder how many gods were listening. My mother has always been scratching at withering rope, tearing her way out of a home, always wanting to escape. Navajo Nation has always been scratching at survival, tearing its way into its own land, always wanting to return home. Cradleboard. Now, definition, the act of giving a hollowed home. But isn't this the most holy descent? This is America. This is America doing what it only knows to do, take. See, this land only knows to thrive, but its colonizers know the act of theft. So never tell me that my friends can't loot. America created the word. America created the idea of stealing, then criminalized it, then criminalized the people they stole from, then killed the people they criminalized. Cradleboard. Noun. Definition. A history of hiding. My grandmother tells me a story, one where her best friend's grandmother was slaughterhouse, one where colonizers take from everything she had ever known. Butterflies come out bruised and bodies fall on the food they grew. My grandmother tells me a story of massacre, and it sounds too similar to now. Cradleboard. Now, definition, a means of resting, a means of keeping love close, kindling. Because Navajo children like to run in fire, as my grandmother says, like to play with rain, and Navajo children should be kept close because they are made of love and Palo Santo and sopapillas and fire. My grandmother says I'm fire. I wonder if I dance like my mother did. Now my mother and I sit in a home on stolen Massachusetts land with our cradleboard on the wall. Cradleboard. Now, definition. A means of storytelling. Things that didn't wish to become. Gasoline, the moon, the stars, microwaves, a protest, a bottle of liquor, a body full of liquor. Nobody does that for fun. I promise. Thank you.
Yes, pretty good.
Give it up for the poet. Judges, please send in your scores for the last poet of the night. For reference, we got for Alex the Great, we have a 30. Give it up for the poet, not the points. Then our previous poet, Gabrielle Ray, got a 29.5. Again, give it up for the poet, the person who put in the work to make those words that you liked in the first place. Okay, so while our scorekeeper is figuring out the points, figuring out who got first, second, and third, I'll give you a little rest, a little breather. Everyone take a deep breath. That was an amazing slam. I can be as biased as I want now. I don't even know if I could pick a favorite because at the beginning of the slam, I felt like, oh yeah, this poet has to be the best. This poet has to be the best. But then y'all just kept coming at it. Ugh. Okay, amazing poetry tonight. Again, I want to shout out our the GoFundMe we're trying to fundraise for Nicole Driver, a single mother with a toddler who is a victim of domestic violence, part of our community. You can find the link in the bio of our Instagram pages, anywhere at Berkeley Slam, at Oakland Slam, at Rich Oak Alchemy. Anything helps with donating to this good cause, just to help someone out. And, just right around the holiday time, just, make yourself feel better by donating to someone in need, obviously, but you should be doing that regardless. But, I'm not here to tell you what your life is. And then we have, we're waiting for the scores. In the meantime, let me shout out all the other slams yet again. We have at Legendary Collective, you can see Santa Cruz Word Church, Rich Oak Alchemy Slam at Rich Oak Alchemy, and Oakland Slam at Oakland Slam. Obviously, you're watching Berkeley Slam at Berkeley Slam. So yeah, great. Let's see. You can follow.
Avi, we actually have a show this Saturday coming through. It's actually going to be the birthday show for Reggie and Colin.
Oh yes. Okay, so this Saturday, it's first and third Saturdays for Rich Oak Alchemy Slam. This is the third Saturday, and it is also coincidentally the birthday show for some of your favorite amazing hosts and just community members and like all around amazing poets and people outside of poetry, because I know it's hard to believe that, but sometimes poets exist outside of poetry. Weird. Our favorite twins in the scene or in general, Reggie and Colin, are having their birthday slam this Saturday at Rich Oak Alchemy Instagram Live. Make sure to follow. I am almost legally allowed to say that it is going to be insane in like the best way possible. Okay. So without further ado, I have first, second, and third. Third place with a final score of a 59.1. Give it up for Gabrielle Ray.
Woo. Woo. Yes.
Yes. Speech.
Yes, speech. Anything to say to our amazing poet? Yes, no. That's fine if no, that's okay as well. But regardless, give it up for Gabrielle Ray. Okay, in second place with a total of 59.4. Give it up for Alex the Great.
Woo. Let's go.
And in first place, drum roll, I'm doing it myself. Give it up with a 59.6. Give it up for Gray Violet. Woo. Would you like to say something amazing? Poetry?
Yes.
I've been going through a lot. This is like my first semester in college, a lot of changes. This space has always been welcoming and has always been the best. And like, I just love all of you guys. And you guys is like, going here is like going to like church, but like more inclusive and like nice. And like, I love it. So just thank you all. This is so wonderful. Thank you.
Amazing. Give it up for Gray Violet. Give it up for Alex the Great. Give it up for Gabrielle Ray. Give it up for Mai. Give it up for Moody Black. Give it up for Kai. Give it up for our sacrifices. Give it up for everyone who has graced the stage. Give it up for our amazing feature, Dante Clark. Give it up for yourself for listening to some amazing poetry. That is the end of the show, end of the slam. I love you platonically or romantically. I don't know. Feelings. Make sure to drink some water, take your medication, eat some fruit, say hi to your mom if you have that relationship with her. I don't know, but that's all I got. See you next time. We're back every Wednesday at 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock workshops if you want to write some poetry and join in yourself. Okay, bye.
We'll see y'all next year, everybody.
Woo.